Good morning, Japan, Ohayou gozaimasu, and welcome to our Gramatica presentation today. My name is Byrne. I am the creator and managing director of Gramatica, and I hope today to show you something new, something innovative, something very powerful to improve the teaching and learning of English language in your school. Before we start, let me introduce myself. Firstly, I'm an English teacher or TESOL, and have been since 2003, so that's 19 years. I've taught thousands of students from all around the world in elementary to advanced with IELTS, Cambridge and FCE. And these are some pictures of me with my students, and even some of my students have even got married. I'm also a curriculum creator and have created two different curriculum. One was a 400-hour IELTS curriculum for a local Perth college, which was approved by ASQA, the Australian Federal Regulatory Organisation, and also university undergraduate Bachelor of Education courses. I'm the author of 9 Planets. This is the book here, which I wrote 8 years ago, and it's one of the moments of great delight in my life when this got published. I have done 2 master's degrees, one in education and one in history, a Bachelor of Education and a Diploma of Teaching, and also my CELTA. And this was a picture of me graduating from the University of Western Australia. I'm also a university teacher in both undergraduate and postgraduate courses in education. I have spoken at conferences in Perth, Brisbane, Melbourne, New Orleans twice, Philippines, and also in the UK. And these are pictures of me speaking at conferences in the Philippines and New Orleans. I'm a traveller, and most importantly, I've been to Japan 18 times, to Kanto, Yokohama, Saitama, Gunma, Hamamatsu, Toyama, Kagoshima, and Miyazaki, and Osaka. I'm also a teacher trainer, so I train Gramatica teachers and elementary and secondary teachers. I'm a family man, and all of my family have been to Japan, and one of them is also a teacher. And I am the creator of Gramatica, as you are going to find out very soon. Now, these are the principles that Gramatica was built on. Firstly, its history. It's not new. Gramatica is the result of almost 2 decades of thinking, research, trial and error, conferences, and classroom testing. It has been well tested. It's also a new way of thinking, a new, innovative, powerful, and completely different lens on English teaching and learning. So if you are looking in your school for something that is different and something that will set you apart from other schools, Gramatica might be for you. It's also very well tested. So it has been used with thousands of students of all ages, from 5 to 70, from 60 countries, and all ability levels, and it works for everyone. And this picture is a girl of 5 years old who was using Gramatica in her preschool in a school in Perth, Western Australia. And I took this picture of her using her Gramatica card to help her to write her own stories. Gramatica is based on research, both modern research into neuroscience, learning, memory, assessment, and also ancient wisdom and just good common sense. Gramatica is unique. There is nothing like Gramatica in the world today. And our mission in Gramatica is to empower students as strong, knowledgeable, creative, correct makers of English forever. Now, my mission in Gramatica is fourfold, 4 different parts. The first part, of course, is to empower Japanese students to become strong, knowledgeable, creative, decisive makers of their own English stories. But it doesn't stop there, because I really want to empower Japanese teachers as well to become strong, knowledgeable, creative, and enthusiastic teachers of English, to inspire their students and to make their students feel excited and happy when they come into class, because their teachers know how to teach correctly. To delight Japanese students and teachers when they realize that English is much simpler than they thought, to make their faces shine and their eyes light up when they realize, It's not so difficult after all. And lastly, to show Japanese students and teachers how to use the simple structures and patterns of English in daily life. So English then becomes relevant to students and they start to use it not only in the class, but in their daily lives. So what is Gramatica made of? What are the components? Firstly, it's an online library of lessons, and these lessons are done in video and PowerPoint, much like the presentation you are watching now. Except these ones are easy to use, highly visual, simple to follow, powerful, relevant for your students, and fun. And each one contains the vocab or grammar point, as well as the 4 macro skills: reading, writing, listening, and speaking. We also want to make sure that we train the teachers. So we don't only give you the lessons, but we show you how to teach the lessons, and also all of the knowledge that you need in order to teach the lessons. We also align Gramatica with the National Japanese Curriculum. And the recent review of the curriculum added a focus on problem solving, creativity, and good learning habits by emphasizing active learning in all courses. And we'll come to this later. It's also a complete system, so it contains the lessons, the learning materials, the assessment devices, and even a question and answer forum, so that if your students or teachers have a question, they can go online, ask their question, and somebody will answer it. It's much like a Facebook for Gramatica. Now, Gramatica takes the form of a license, and this is an annual license. Now, we only offer annual licenses to approved schools, colleges, companies, or government departments. Gramatica is not for general sale. You have to apply to become a Gramatica school. And when you do, you enter into a long-term partnership to promote the Gramatica mission that we spoke of earlier, and you also receive everything in the Gramatica system. It's exclusive. As I said, not all schools who apply to become Gramatica schools do so. So we only offer a fixed number of licenses for a city, province, or country, which means that you may become a Gramatica school and your competitor in the same town may not, which means that you can offer this to your potential customers in your marketing. You get free updates. So when we provide anything new, a new lesson, a resource, or assessment tool, you get first access to that. You also get regular support. So if you need anything for your teachers, we provide that on either email or Zoom webinars. And best of all, when your school renews its Gramatica license for another year, we pay you, your school, a loyalty bonus of 10,000 Australian dollars. As you can see, that's the Japanese yen figure there. Now, as we just spoke about, let's talk about the price. This is the price of the Gramatica license for 1 year. And many people will say that's a lot of money. Actually, it's not, because your school does not pay this. Your students do, or your students' families. And this is how we calculate it. We work out the total price divided by 300, which is an average price for the number of students in your school. Yours may be less or it may be more, and we'll show you in the next slide. Divide that by 52 weeks in a year, and it comes to $2.24 per student per week, which is about the price of a litre of milk in Tokyo. So these are the prices per student for schools of different populations, and these prices and the exchange rate were correct as of February 14, 2022. As you can see, all of these prices here per student are relatively cheap, with the most expensive being the price of a 500 milliliter bottle of domestic beer in Tokyo. Now, what are the learning principles that underpin Gramatica? First of all, we want students to take ownership of their learning, not to be passive receivers of knowledge, but to be active makers of knowledge. And the first thing, therefore, that we want them to do is to say, what skill do I want to learn? Secondly, with this skill, what tools do I need to be able to achieve this skill or to learn this skill first? Thirdly, once I have those tools, then I practice very hard, practice every day. And then I'm able to tell my own story. So how does this apply to daily life? Well, first, let's take the example of keeping my teeth clean. So that's my skill that I want to learn. And I've decided that that is important for me. So then I think, what tools do I need? I need a toothbrush and some toothpaste. Then when I have the tools, I have to learn how to use the tools. So I watch my older brother or sister or mum or dad brush their teeth. And I think, that's how you do it. And so then I practice with those tools and I use them in daily life. Now, if I use that and apply that to Gramatica, let's say I need to learn how to tell a past story. And we have lots of past stories, and some of these past stories are very important to us. So then I get the English tools I need, which is the past simple. It's a verb tense. Then I learn how to use the English tools by doing a Gramatica course on the telling a past simple story. And then I practice with these tools and I take ownership of my learning and I use them in daily life, both in the classroom and in my outside the classroom life. Now, one of the main principles that Gramatica was built on is Bloom's taxonomy of learning. And if you Google this on any good computer, you will find the story of Benjamin Bloom, who devised this taxonomy of different levels of thinking. Now, low-level thinking is called remember, where you simply memorize information for an exam or a test. You may not understand the information, but you memorize it. When the test or the exam is finished, when you leave the exam room, you may forget everything because you haven't learned it, you've only memorized it. Now, Gramatica does not promote this. We use the remember part as only the first step in learning. What we are really after is high-level thinking, which is create. And when students create, they remember and they learn better. So this is what we use a lot in Gramatica. Now, for many generations around the world, schools have taught English in a certain way, and let's call these traditional schools. Now, traditional schools believe that English is difficult. They also think it's a school subject, like mathematics or history. They explain it with technical terms and unclear concepts. They use course books. They focus on grammar. They teach students how to memorize, to study, and to repeat information in exams. They use course book stories and they produce good students. Now, while students are very, very good, we would like to suggest that Gramatica can actually add to this. So let's now look at the way that Gramatica teaches English. First of all, we know that English is quite simple. It's not difficult at all. And the Gramatica way of teaching and learning English really is very, very simple and very different. Secondly, we know it's not a subject, but it's a set of tools, as we saw just recently. Third, we explain the principles and concepts with simple words and life concepts and ideas. Next, we use clear, colourful pictures and diagrams. The research shows that students learn faster with pictures than they do with words alone. We focus on students' life needs because students remember what is important to them. We teach them how to think, as we saw with Bloom's taxonomy. We empower students. We teach them how to create their own stories, again, with Bloom's taxonomy. We use student stories because students have many stories, and when they remember these stories, of course, they will learn better. And therefore, we don't produce good students, we produce able, strong creators of English. So, what are the benefits for your teachers? Firstly, we provide them with a common teaching language and style. Now, English is not difficult. English is much simpler than you thought. And as a result, we provide this simple teaching language to all of your teachers so that then they can teach with a simple language, not a difficult one, which makes it easier for the students to learn and to understand. Secondly, we provide full training for all of your teachers in the content, the pedagogy, the classroom delivery, and the assessment. Now, you may remember that in the curriculum revision that we looked at several slides ago, that it focused on students' creative, productive ability. And that's exactly what we do in the Gramatica assessment process. We provide your assessment devices and also some theory and practice for how to assess correctly. Remember that Gramatica assessment is based not on what a student can remember, but what a student can create. Now, what are the benefits for students? Firstly, Gramatica is for everybody. So all ages and all levels, from the youngest student to the oldest student. It works for everybody. Now, students receive a learning map, and I'll show this to you very soon, and they use this to record progress. Number two, they use a very simple grammar language, so we don't use difficult terms or concepts. We use very life-relevant terms and concepts, and everything is color-coded and easy to understand. Students can trust Gramatica because we never change the words or the colors. Everything is always the same. Everything is consistent throughout. Students also are active makers in a Gramatica lesson. We promote active learning because when students are active, they remember better. And also because the lessons are online, if a student is sick or absent, the student can come back and do the lesson again as many times as they need. Now, this is the learning map. This is only one page and there are 10 pages, and each lesson is shown here with the dates. So the student can do this up to 5 different times and also add their own comments. And we make this learning map available for teachers, so the teachers can see what the students are doing and the students can see what the teacher has commented on. So it's a transparent learning conversation between teachers and students. Now, some more benefits for students are firstly in their daily life. Now, we know that in Pakistan and in many countries around the world, students only learn English and practice English in class. So we want to make sure that they have a transition into their daily lives, and we provide them with tools to do that, and we show them how that's done. So we make sure that these stories that they tell about their own lives are the important ones, because these are the ones that students will remember. Gramatica students enjoy their English. They become, it's wonderful to see their faces light up and their eyes shine when they realize that it's not as hard as they thought, that the challenge is quite manageable, and that they start to become excited when they start to succeed. And we also train students to become world ready, to think, if I ever leave Pakistan and I travel around the world for various reasons, and that might be to join an English language university, or to find romance in an English speaking country, or to get a job in an English speaking country, or just to travel for its own benefit, then they can use their Gramatica skills in the process. Now, these are the benefits for your school. First of all, you have a competitive advantage. And this means that because we only offer Gramatica licenses to select schools, you can use that in your marketing to say, we are a Gramatica school and we have something that other schools do not have. Now, your own school culture is something that you have built up over time. We cannot change that, but we can certainly make it stronger. We train your teachers, which is something that other schools may not do or other programs may not do, but we train your teachers for 1 month before they start using the Gramatica system. And you also join a worldwide community that's growing all the time of different schools around the world, and you get free access to all Gramatica webinars and conferences, both face-to-face and online. Now, Gramatica has been used in schools in Australia, Thailand, and the USA, and these are comments from primary principals and deputy principals, and you can read these in your own time. And these are comments from primary and middle school classroom teachers, and again, you can read these in your own time. And these are comments from students, And all of these students are all students that I have taught personally, and they are all adults. And again, you can read these in your own time. Now, the Gramatica team. At the moment, you can see me there with my contact details, and we are still working on confirming the Gramatica agent in Japan. When we do, we will advertise that very, very extensively. So, what are your next steps? If you have liked what you have seen so far, if this is something that you would like to explore further and find out how this can benefit your teachers and your students and your school, the first thing to do is to learn more. We strongly recommend that you do your research, find out about Gramatica and find out about me, and find out all of the history that you can about the way that Gramatica works. Secondly, to make contact. Make contact with me and set up a Zoom meeting. Bring your leadership team and any of your English teachers, and you can ask as many questions as you like to find out some more. Thirdly, let's have a sample lesson, and here you bring about 10 of your students for a free 15-minute Zoom lesson in Gramatica. And during that lesson, we will show you how Gramatica works with real students in real life. Lastly, if you like all of this, you can apply to become a Gramatica School, and of course you can ask for the application form. Arigatou gozaimashita. Thank you. Thank you for listening, and I trust that you have learned something new, and I trust that you have become excited by the possibilities of a new, innovative and powerful way to improve the English language teaching and learning in your school. Thank you and goodbye.